Thank you for joining me today on the Garbage Bag Girl podcast. This podcast is about all of us. It's about the things and the ways that make us feel pushed down and small. It is about how the smallest acts of kindness make the biggest impact each day. No one should feel like garbage, ever. Enjoy the show. Hi, I'm Celeste Edmonds, author of Garbage Bag Girl, and I kind of wanted you to get to know me just a little bit better. I have been asked so many questions since releasing the book on December 3rd, and so we wanted to create a series around some of those questions and talk very specifically about each one. And the first one I wanted to talk about is my daughter, Mykaella. So I get asked what it's been like for my children to read the book. And I'm not going to lie, when I first released it, it was definitely the biggest concern that I had because I wasn't worried about strangers reading the book. I was worried about the people that love and care about me, like my children. And just about 2 weeks or so after I released the book, I came home and my daughter's door was closed, which is not unusual. She's a teenager. So I knock on the door, ask if I can come in, and when I walk in, she's just completely sobbing. And my book is on her lap. So obviously I knew, okay, here's that moment. Here's that moment that's going to define what it feels like for me and what it feels like for her. And I went over, I sat on her bed, and she lifts her head up, wipes her tears, and I said, do you need me to give you some space? Do you want me to come back? And she said, no, I'm okay. I said, did you finish it? And she said, I'm just reading the very, very end. And I said, well, I asked, how does it make you feel? And she looked up and started crying again. And she replied, Mom, you're such a badass. If you have a teenager, you know that's considered pretty cool. But then she said, I'm so proud that you're my mom. And I'm so proud of everything that you've been through and what you are doing with your life. And the book has been so important to me. So we hug, and there's, part of me that's just super emotional about it. And then the other part is just, whew, I took this deep breath of relief more than anything, that it didn't hurt her or trigger her or make her feel any other way other than the way it did make her feel, which was positive, that there was something about me that she was proud of and she could look forward to. So I gave her a hug, and I told her I was going to go out and make dinner. It was just the two of us at home. So I go out to the kitchen and I'm making dinner, and she comes out and says, I need to leave for just a few minutes and I'll be right back. Another teenage thing. We never know where they're going. So she comes back about 15 minutes later, and she has a package from a local convenience store in her hand. And she pulls out a bag of Funyuns and a container of chocolate milk. Now, for those of you that have read the book, you will know why this is so significant. If you haven't, you should read it and catch up with the rest of us. Funyuns and chocolate milk was the last gift that my father purchased for me before I didn't see him again until I was 20 years old. Although I knew that was trash, obviously, after I ate it and drank that with him, I had rinsed out the carton of chocolate milk. I'd wiped out all the grease out of the Funyuns bag, and I kept them. They weren't my garbage. They were my treasures. Like most children in foster care, there's something that they have held on to that brings them back to a biological connection that has been stolen from them, that they've been robbed of. And for me, the Funyuns and chocolate milk have become very symbolic. It never gets old. It doesn't matter how many book signings I have. When someone shows up or I see them waiting in line with Funyuns and chocolate milk, it's extremely significant because I know what they're saying, which is what my daughter was saying that day. She showed up with the bright yellow bag of Funyuns, and the chocolate milk, and we both just started crying. It was the very first time I'd had that experience. And she just hugged me and said, "I'm so proud of you." And we sat down at the bar in our kitchen, and we ate those and drank that together. And it was just truly a very profound moment, because she just wanted me to be seen, and she wanted me to feel heard. And that's really what the podcast is about, is that it's those smallest acts of kindness. It's the smallest acts of gratitude. It's the smallest words that make the greatest impact in our lives, that show somebody else that they really matter. Thank you for joining me today on the Garbage Bag Girl podcast. Always remember, you matter. Please subscribe and share this podcast, and visit CelesteEdmonds.com to join my mailing list.